Hello everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Skarest on Minecraft, where we'll be continuing to take our look at the Spot the Difference puzzle map done by Lucky's, I believe is how the name was pronounced. And we have now moved on to a lovely water map. So just an overview real quick, if anyone missed the last video on how this works. There are 16 tile sets on the floor. 12 of the tile sets will be the same. 4 of the tile sets will have some type of difference. What you want to do is stand onto the pressure plate of the tile sets that are different, and that will unlock the door to the next puzzle. If you step on the pressure plate of a tile set that is the same, you will need to go ahead and step on that middle pressure plate to go ahead and reset all of them. Right against the back wall there, you will see the 4 sets of lights. They will let you know when you've stepped on the right one. So we're going to go ahead and get started on here. Now this one's a little bit interesting. You've now got the water added into it, which you will notice I fall into a lot. So what we're looking for in the differences are either a different type of tile that's being used instead of the standard blue one. Maybe there's something in the water. Maybe there's just a change in the tile setup where instead of following the same pattern, there's a switch in the pattern. So that's what we're trying to keep an eye on here, in which we see that there is a change in that particular pattern. Right by the pressure plate, there was an added block. Now, I have enjoyed this map as I played through it. It's actually one of the more interesting ones that I played. I've always enjoyed Spot the Difference. When I used to go to a local pizza parlor before they shut down, they had one of those desktop type of games, and they had a Spot the Difference game in there, and I'd like to sit there with my wife and play through that game. Now, this one was a fairly obvious one with the glowstone underneath it. So that gives us 2 of the differences down with 2 more to find. Now this one we notice in the top right hand corner we are missing a block. So that gives us 3 of our differences, and we are down to just 1 more to move on to the next map. Now most of these weren't necessarily too difficult for me, but like I said, I've played a lot of different Spot the Differences, but they definitely step up in difficulty when they change from this 2D perspective and they start going into 3D perspectives instead. It definitely adds that, just a bit of more difficulty into it. It's well received in my opinion. Like I said, the gentleman who made this, he did a good job with it. So we found 3 of them. We're going back through the other ones, trying to spot what difference I may have missed. Now, one thing I kept looking at, which from my viewing there was never a difference, was the pressure plates themselves, thinking maybe there was a different type of pressure plate that he may have used, but I looked at it a lot, but that never actually came up. Now, one of the things you want to make sure you do is don't go into flying mode while you're playing through this. It makes it a little cheap in my opinion. I do like overviewing the top of the map from up in the stairs first, but eventually, just because of how far it is away, you're going to have to get down on the ground. And now we actually can see the difference. It's in that top right hand corner. We have a different block altogether, but apparently I missed it again when doing the playthrough. Makes me feel a little better that I could notice it this time, even though I still didn't notice the first time that I went by that puzzle. Now, I double jumped on that one again just to make sure that it wasn't one I accidentally skipped before. And I fall in the water a lot. Me and anything dealing with water when it comes to video games just do not get along. Say, water Mario levels were the worst things in the world. The water temple from Ocarina of Time drives me up a wall, still to this day. Beating that game, God only knows how many times over the last, I think, 14 years that game has been out now. And I will always miss a key in that water temple. So I'm continuing on the hunt here. I did spot the difference earlier myself while watching this video and doing the commentary, but unfortunately while playing it, didn't spot it. I'm sure some of you are getting rather stressed out with me right now, because I'm sure you noticed that right away and you just want to scream at your monitor, "It's right there!" And there's a few people I have that same problem with. I can't watch people play Portal to save my life. If I watch someone play Portal, it will drive me up a wall. See, what I did now this time is coming down from the other path, from the other direction instead of the first one, and it allowed me to actually see that difference that time. It gave me a different perspective of what was going on. But yeah, I can't watch people play Portal. I've tried to watch people play Portal, and it's horrible. It really pains me when I can sit there and I just see the puzzle answer blatantly right there, and I'm just like, please just shoot your portal there and get it over with. But that's also because I understand from my perspective, I can see it. There's a huge difference from what you see while you're watching someone play the game and what you see when you're playing the game. It's the same idea as if you watch sports at all. When you watch a ref or an umpire make a call, what you see is vastly different than what they see. Now, this one, when I first saw it, scared me just a little bit. I'm thinking, oh, jeez. But then I remembered little things about, because my mind was sitting there thinking much more complicated puzzle than it would be, which is that somehow there's going to be differences in the books, but then I have to remember this is Minecraft. Those blocks are the same. They're not going to look different, thankfully. So there won't be oh no, this one has a red book instead of a green book in one of the shelves. But when I first saw it, I'll admit, it little bit scared me. So you can see I'm getting the top-down perspective on it first. Now, I may see something that's different, but I do not like to go to it right away. I like to be able to go up and down them in order. It just helps me keep things organized and know where I'm looking at. The only thing I could wish for is that the lighting in the middle section was just a little bit better. As you can see from here, when you're standing up here, you can't quite see the middle section from up top all that well. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get a start then. That one we noticed the difference in right away when we were up top. Now we're just looking at the different blocks, trying to see if anything on the ground is different, if one of the ones that are actually surrounding the thing are different. Like I said, it starts to step up in difficulty when you get to this 3D perspective, because now instead of just looking at the ground, you're also having to look at what's built up. Now, total time for me to go through this map was about an hour. I believe there's 10 puzzles in here currently. I wasn't really counting when I went through it, but it was about an hour that it took me through. And it would have been a lot faster, but there's one of the puzzle maps that will be coming up that I just could not figure out what the missing thing was. I was stuck on it for a while. Okay, so we went ahead and spotted the difference on that one. Moving on to the next set, we got 2 differences down. Now, one thing I did have a little trouble with was making sure I did not accidentally step on any of the buttons while I was going through, especially that button, because that's the button that will reset the entire map. That was one of those cases where I was comparing pressure plates again. And I went all the way around just to avoid that middle button. I didn't want to step on that thing by accident and have to go re-find the puzzles that were different. Now this one we can see the problem right there with the bookshelves on the bottom. Yep, we trigger it, and that gives us 3 of our 4 down. And then there is our last one right there. So that gives us all 4 of them. 4 lights. In the words of the great Captain Picard, there are 4 lights! If you have not seen that episode and don't understand that reference, a shame on you. Of course I'm not reading the books, jeez. Actually, I am myself an avid reader, particularly of the fantasy. I happen to be a big fan. If you've never read any David Eddings, I happen to be a big fan of. Now, when I was reading on the forum, this was posted. This seemed to be one that was brought up as causing problems, and I have to agree. This is the particular map that I spent a good chunk of time on. I'm honestly not even positive how long of a time on, unfortunately. Once again, just getting the top-down perspective so we can go ahead and see things that we wouldn't necessarily be able to see as easily from the ground. And then also while hanging it up there, a good chunk of the time when I dropped down, it wasn't on purpose. It was me falling and just deciding, no, I'm not going to go ahead and climb back up. Let's go ahead and start this from the ground and take a peek at what's going on here. Kind of like that one. So this one gets a bit trickier because now you're having to look at the interior of the blocks themselves. Also having to look at the ceiling, that middle block of the roof, due to the fact that you can't see that middle block from the top since it is covered. So it's definitely adding more and more to the complexity of the puzzles. In which we saw the missing block right in there. And we trigger number 1. Why I still jumped up there, I'm not sure. If there is a difference, I already discovered. There's only the one. I mean, it could be 5 differences on that one. It doesn't matter. It's only going to be able to press that pressure plate. Yes, we know how to speak. Only going to be able to press that pressure plate one time anyway. At least one time to light up anything. Now that we see the one different block in there, so we've now got 2 of the 4 down. And it seems like we're making decent progress. And that gives us 3 of the 4. Now the gray blocks all do start to blend in together a bit on my eyes. I think if you do this all in one run, it does make it a little bit trickier due to the fact that you just start to see everything looking the same. It's kind of like the idea if anybody's ever had the 10 key, a lot of numbers together, you'll eventually, the numbers just start blending together in your eyes, and it can start making you make mistakes. And my job I used to do a lot of 10 keying. Now the reason I decided not to speed through and show you guys my actually searching through each one, to give you a little bit of an idea of how to go through this, the process that it takes to be able to find the mistakes, at least the process that I used to find the mistakes. I'm sure there's many other ways and quite possibly better ways, but I like doing things my way because my way got me through it. If you do find a better way to do it, by all means, I would love to hear about it. I'm definitely willing to take advice and possibly use other methodologies for any of my puzzle solving in the future if you feel there's a better way. And at this point in time, we decided this was taking too long because I kid you not, I spent the next 15 minutes going through this part. So we're speeding along and saving both of us a lot of stress and a lot of time. Now here's the sad part. We're going to head and we're going to find that last one here in just a moment. And this was the one with the difference, and I found it by luck. I still cannot tell you what the difference is. I'm hoping right now, as I'm watching this, I might be able to spot it. But if you see it, please tell me, because I still don't know what that difference is. And still, nothing. I do not see it even now. So if you see that difference, please tell me. I beg of you. I was doing guessing in order to try to figure out what the difference was. That was my third guess of a reset, going, okay, here's the one that's different. Even just watching it now and watching myself play through, I don't know what that difference was. So I do ask you to leave a comment in the section below, letting me know what that difference was that you saw, because I still don't see it. Well, folks, that's going to go ahead and do it for us for this particular episode. I do thank all of you for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or anything of that nature, leave them in the section below. Otherwise, I do ask you to go ahead and like and favorite the video and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, folks, keep on playing.